Tuesdays in, that's going to be that. All right, we're ready to go. It is Friday, January 9th, year of our Lord 2026, as Steve Bennett says. It is also from a historical note. Anybody else know what happened on January 9th, 1861? 1861. It is the day that the Citadel cadets in Charleston Harbor fired on the Star of the West. The Star of the West was the resupply ship that was going to Fort Sumter, and a lot of people attribute that as the first fire, gunshots or whatever of the Civil War. So that wasn't. I think it was several months later or whatnot that they actually fired on the fort itself. But initially it was, they were going after. So at my school, there's a big award. Like my roommate from freshman year or sophomore year, he had what's called a Star of the West scholarship, full ride, super smart. He's actually a rocket scientist now. And I can't remember what rocket company he worked for, but I think he actually works for SpaceX now, because he went to SpaceX before I even knew what anybody knew what Elon Musk was or SpaceX or any of that kind of stuff is. So it's just, but that Star of the West is a big Citadel thing. So little trivia. We start off with some crazy trivia.
Don't you do every year the cadets go? Is that?
I don't know if they do or not. Shoot at a sailboat out there. Maybe.
I'm mixing it up. There's an event that they go and put the big red on the.
There is something.
When did that happen?
That's Castle Pinckney or I don't know what that is.
Because we've seen it like a few times. We've participated in that.
A lot of people don't realize, and I'll just make this comment. In the old days, when I went to the Citadel, I finished in '89. I mean, literally football games, they waved the Confederate flag and all that kind of stuff. And obviously that became politically incorrect to do, so they switched to what's called Big Red, which is the South Carolina flag, red color, and there is some historical significance to that. It's a battle flag that stays in South Carolina, that kind of stuff. And they have a huge one that they found, like somebody found in a garage or something, storage place in like Iowa, and they got it and brought it to the school, and it's on display and all that kind of stuff. But that's what they now use at football games. They fly it as Otis says over the. This is Castle Pinckney. It's whatever in the harbor. There's an old fort there, which is kind of neat. But I can't remember. I think the Sons of Confederate Veterans on that island or something like that. But we don't need to be sidetracked. What we do need to know is Monday we've got the Greenville GOP meeting. It will be at that's our quarterly meeting. We will have that at the main library downtown. We're opening doors 5 o'clock. Get there. I think we'll start doing credentialing at 5:15. We're going to start the meeting at 6. So we'll do the introductory pledge prayer. You've been working on the pledge.
Yeah.
Back there.
It's new to me.
Councilman-elect, veteran of the year in Simpsonville, I think. Jerry Tissot is a volunteer to do or been conscripted to do the pledge on Monday night. We're excited about that. Voluntold, yes, conscripted voluntold, all the same thing. Yes, and we'll do that Monday. But once we do the opening, we're going to do 2 presentations from candidates. Number one, we'll start off with Mike Burkhold. He is running, and we've interviewed and talked to him here before with Coffee and Politics. But Mike is running for comptroller. Obviously, there's been that controversy of the missing whatever billions or 20 billion or 10 billion or 9, whatever the numbers were. But that it's just accounting errors. The comptroller resigned, the state auditor resigned, all that kind of stuff. And the governor appointed somebody in that temporary position for a while. But Mike Burkhold is running for that position. He's a businessman. He understands all that kind of stuff. I like seeing people like that step into it. He's obviously said all the things that we like, and he is going to. He is very interested in transparency and what we can do, what he can do, or that office can do to put out. What are the contracts? What are the payments that are being authorized or being approved by the comptroller's office for the treasurer to actually cut checks for, that type of stuff. So pretty excited about that. He'll introduce and speak. I don't know of anybody else running against him. Haven't heard. I did hear, we have been told that the current appointed comptroller, who I believe technically is a Democrat, that's the rumor that goes out up there. Why did our governor appoint a Democrat? But if he was just put in that position as administrator for a time period, and now we're going to get an elected official in there, that's good. But I heard he's not going to run. So it's just, as far as we know, it's Mike Burkle. He'll give his opening and presentation. But the real highlight or keynote for the evening will be David Pasco. We've all heard and seen a lot of what he's doing, running for South Carolina Attorney General. He does have two opponents. Hopefully we get them around and hear what they're saying. But Pasco is going to, we've seen his presentation of the general stuff that's been very, we've seen it in pushing different parts of that presentation for 4 years now, since he first came and spoke to us on January 6th of 2022. That's kind of his opening salvo into this in judicial reform. But he's going to talk, I think, my interpretation and what's been leaked out there and what he told me is he's going to talk about some of the things that Alan Wilson has done. And he's brought up some things in the past, and we've all had concerns with Alan Wilson's, association with some things down there. But he's going to talk about there was a Senate oversight hearing a couple months ago, I think. I remember seeing Nancy Mace made a big deal out of it because she actually, it was over a Senate oversight meeting to hear and discuss the Attorney General's office. Mm-hmm. And they do that. I mean, that's the House and the Senate. They both have oversight. And then they will bring in, every couple of years, they analyze or will review each of the departments down there or groups. I mean, yes, the AG's office is an elected official too, but they'll go through and do that and review it. But the Senate did not bring up what I think Nancy Mace and a lot of other people thought was going to be brought up in that oversight meeting. And, the rumor and the discussions out there in the ether of the political and social media world is that they were essentially covering up for a lot of Alan's, failures, or the AG office's, failures. So, I think that's what his presentation would be. So we've seen a lot of people that are interested in coming. I think it's gonna be a great meeting, a presentation in that respect. And then we'll get into some business things. Can you throw up the agenda?
Just throw up the agenda.
I don't want you to throw up the agenda. If you could put the agenda on the screen, that will be fantastic. Do you have it?
Yes.
Yeah, we go. Okay. I'm going to put up the agenda, but that's going to be, and I will tell you, I think Burkle, I would talk to him about how long he wants to speak, but I would anticipate 10, 15 minutes, introduction from him. And then Pasco is probably going to be an hour. So you're looking at, if we start at 6:15, Burkle till 6:30, Pasco till 7:30. We got to be out of there at 8:30, right? So,
Well, 8:15, start cleaning up.
well, she pushes that. I think we have to stop at 8:30.
No, we're supposed to have it
We're supposed to be out of that.
and
So,
everything, yes.
yeah, fine. So that's Terry. It's reserved under Terry's name.
That's
So
right. They'll come after
she's a
me.
little sensitive about when we get in and out. So,
So
you know,
when you
so
see me do this, I'm telling Jeff, round it up, close it up, let's go.
and I say back, if you see me mouthing, you're not the boss of me. You'll know what's going on. But I mean, we've got a couple of business items, nothing controversial, nothing, and nobody's asked for anything else. So I don't think there's going to be very much there. Obviously, we'll do the credentialing report. Joe McLaughlin, that's what it seems. If I can remember this, anywhere close. Okay, all is doing that. But, Joe does, think about how these meetings go. We can't actually do business until we have the credentialing report from those folks about make sure we have a quorum. We work forward from there. Then we've got, I think, the treasurer's report. We'll do the welcome. We'll do the treasurer's report. Mary's got that. And on the agenda, we'll have that. Anybody can look at all of our, we're the only county out there that I know that puts out their financials, including copies of the bank statements. But if you go to greenvillegop.com/reports, you can see all of our historical treasurer's reports and all that kind of stuff there, going back several years as far as I recall. Yes, sir.
What number is a quorum?
Strangely enough, even though we have 151 precincts, to have a quorum for a regular meeting is 25. We could have a quorum in here, type thing, but it's only 25. Yeah.
I asked because everywhere you go, it's different.
Yeah, it is, but for whatever reason, in our rules, it's 25. To call a special meeting, it's 15. And we don't ever have that issue. If somebody wanted to call a special meeting or had issues they wanted to bring up at the meeting, let us know. We'll talk about it, discuss it, put it on the agenda. I want people to hear things. I'm more than happy to discuss issues and concerns people have, especially people we call the haters out there. I mean, I love doing that type of stuff. And, so I think that's why they don't want to have some of these discussions. But if the chair of a county was refusing to put issues on the agenda to be discussed, or if, and you find this in other counties, they will shut people down. The state party will shut us down if we try to bring things up at the state executive committee meeting. If you have a chair that shuts things down, you can call a special meeting. 15 ECs from Greenville County can call a special meeting. We don't have that issue. And even over our tenure, we've only had one time a special meeting was called, which was the sauna meeting, which was like complete debacle. But that's what they wanted to do, and they were trying to create. But that was a couple years ago and past. But if you can, Olga, move down to the business section a little bit, so you can see it and zoom in tab. Because even with my glasses, I can't see that. Okay, so what we'll do, the first thing you got to do, and I'll just walk through this just so people kind of know the procedure. In these types of meetings, we open it up with a credentialing report, then we approve the agenda. Now, that's something we always haven't done in the past, but what we're doing is we're honing down on this, and that's why we try to put all this out there so other counties will understand and we can teach people about it. But Ray Sheen from our rules committee is now insisting we officially approve the agenda, which we probably should do. So, I mean, if you know Robert's rules and all that kind of stuff. So we've added that. We did it. We've done it the past couple of times, but we just approved the agenda. That is a place where if somebody wants to change the agenda, they can change it. And if the majority wants to change the agenda, and I think we had a meeting years ago where I think we reordered things on the agenda, because they were thinking we were going to run the meeting late and weren't going to get to things. So I mean, that was a little ridiculous, but that's okay. We did that, and I even supported changing that back years ago. Then we'll do the treasurer's report. And as I say, you can see all our stuff, greenvillegop.com/reports. That's two things that we've set up here recently. Number one was that. Number two, after we go through that and realize the treasurer's report is just a presentation. We don't actually vote on it. So there's nothing to vote on or accept. It's a simple presentation. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. So, I mean, people can ask questions and we can go back. But for us, we send it out to all the ECs present. If you have questions, ask. We don't have time to really sit around and discuss. And as you saw at the last meeting, we had somebody that I think they were complaining about why are we paying $600 and some odd for lawn maintenance or lawn service for a month. It was for a 6-month period. But, it's like those types of questions. And why we were paying $35 to some web service in London, like we were money laundering $35 to London on a month. That was our web hosting system.
Well, you're gonna be a millionaire pretty soon.
I know. I can't wait. I've done. Y'all figured out everything I'm trying to do. $35. I can sit there. But I will tell you that person that brought that up did recently resign. We can talk about that, but I don't expect we'll have any of those issues. And hey, Terry, we see Terry Richards on there. Online, not this Terry,
me.
the other Terry.
Okay.
the not scary Terry. This is scary Terry here. That's nice Terry. Ooh, she likes that.
Now I know.
The other thing that we do have a vote on, and will be approval of the minutes. Now, over the past quarter, we've had 2 meetings. Obviously, the last quarterly meeting on October 13th, but we also had that special meeting to do the first vote on the censures. That was on October 9th. You can see those minutes. Scott's put those together, and I don't know, have we linked the videos up yet?
No.
Maybe not, but we'll do that over the weekend for sure. But we'll have the videos, and I think we've linked other videos. But if you go to greenvillegop.com/minutes, what we're trying to do, think about it. It's just simple. I mean, make it easy. /events is all the events. /reports.
Or
Treasurer's report.
everything, if you don't remember, / is under resources. There's like a bunch of things there. That's where you also can find it. If you don't remember the URL.
So we have the recording of the meeting? Is that what
Video,
you're saying? Oh, the
yes.
video.
And I like to have it on there. I mean, if somebody
Yeah.
got a question, just find it on the video. I
Video,
mean,
yeah.
a lot of
Okay.
people, and I will tell you, other counties and certainly the state party, I mean, we do quarterly meetings down in Columbia. They will send out, I mean, they don't let guests come.
Nope.
They don't let, certainly they say you're not supposed to record, you're not supposed to take pictures, all that kind of stuff. That's not who
Don't
we
let you
are.
come.
We believe in transparency. A lot of people campaign on transparency, and I will tell you, transparency is hard. It's not easy, but I mean, in reality, it's much easier, at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'd rather go ahead and put that stuff up so it doesn't all explode later on, like kind of what we had with Joe Cornell's contract here, the city or the county yesterday. But if you provide more transparency, let people be involved in it, it is harder to build a consensus than to be a dictator, right? It'd be much easier for me to tell you what we're doing, than to build consensus and ask and talk. I mean, I like building consensus, and that's what we try to do, and that's how I think that's how I think public service ought to be, and those types of things. I mean, if an elected official, wants to do something, wants to renew a contract or put a particular bill, explain it. There are certain things and certain realities in life, and we talk about it with what Ron and Shannon are doing down in Fountain Inn. But I'm like, there's certain realities. Well, do we have the votes? Do we not have the votes? Is it the right thing? I mean, I will tell you, there's certain things that are red meat issues that if you just want to appeal to people and get a lot of people riled up, just throw it out there. But you're not governing correctly. I mean, I'm a big believer on the pro-life issue. I mean, it's easier just to kind of put it to the side and not deal with it. But if you actually get out there and educate people on the issue and discuss it, I mean, I will tell you, I mean, we've talked about it before. My history is, I didn't think it was a place for me to tell a woman what to do with her body. But at some point I realized I don't know where it clicked or what it was, but at some point I was like, well, there's a different body. I mean, I'm not telling her what to do with her body. We're saying you can't do this. You can't kill another body. So, I mean, educate people on that. That's what we have to do. And that's what I think is a responsibility of people in elected positions. Explain it, let them know. Don't snow them, but explain it. And if they ask hard questions, maybe you'll find out you're wrong. I had some people, tell me we don't have it. There's only 200 people in this country that could literally, run or take the position as county administrator for Greenville County in the entire council. It is such a big job. You could do it.
Well,
You could do
did
it.
you say someone told
Well, I
them?
make mistakes.
Volunteering.
A county council member that's going to be part of the selection process or fun. Don't tell me there's
Did he just
only
officially,
200 people.
And not
In
one
the
in
country.
Greenville County or in South
Wow.
Carolina.
Right. They have to do a
South Carolina.
national search.
Don't you feel insulted right now?
I do.
And I said, there's probably somebody in this building. And I know there's somebody in Greenville County. And at worst case, there's somebody in the state of South Carolina that can do that job.
Yep.
And I was told, give me names. I'm gonna give a
And
name.
guess what? I cannot
I
give
think
them-
you already have one
Well,
volunteer.
His name.
Well,
Yeah, well, there's a problem with me, but
He's
that's okay.
but there is, and it came to Olga, and then she wants credit for it. But it came to Olga. I mean, there's somebody that we know that has a long history, that knows a lot of stuff about, the operations, financial operations of Greenville County, that is a professional, that has a master's degree, that has done all of this type of stuff. And I'm like,
He will be a perfect person.
he'd be a perfect person for it. Now, I don't know if he wants the job
I
or
don't
would
know
want it.
Joe Cornell's what do you call it? Education and all.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
irrelevant.
thinking, this person could be actually more qualified.
This person actually
Maybe that's
is more
it.
qualified and probably has more knowledge. And I don't know. I mean, but this person lives in Greenville, grew up from here, cares about here. I am not a believer that we need to go out and find some hired gun from some California, or wherever, to come to Greenville County because we're going to pay the highest.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna pay the move for the move and all.
Right. All the benefits and all the blah, blah, blah. I
And
think it's
who else
ridiculous.
500 companies do we have in this state? You gotta believe there are people on staff that can do the job.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And don't tell me there's not, if that's a failure of the administrator. And we can talk about that later, get past it. But there's not an employee over there that would want that job, and
Not
literally
long.
could
Yeah, I was
do
gonna say,
it.
they might not want it.
Leave it for other places.
Right.
And
Well,
that's
true.
what I would, if someone like me would come in there, I'd rely on the staff that's already there.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's gonna be resistance, but what you do is you pick their brains, you figure out what needs to be done, you look for the bad apples, you get rid of the bad apples, and you get moving forward.
You show them, you want them to be included, not to be excluded from the process.
Correct.
And you'll get, you get, like I said, you catch more flies with sugar than you do with vinegar. And
But-
that's
but-
basically what this is.
But as I told somebody else earlier this morning, I was like, I will take a good, honest, decent person that cares about Greenville
Yes.
versus somebody who's got the best resume on the planet.
Mhm.
I really will. I mean, because I think that person is more qualified. I mean, and I believe in hiring from within or from local and all that kind of stuff. I know sometimes there's just there's nobody, but how many Fortune 500 companies are here? I don't know. But I mean, there's plenty. I mean, how many? I mean, I know they got what, a couple $100 million budget. I get it, but I'm like, how many companies are out there with a couple $100 million budgets?
And haven't
2,000
they
employees.
complained that a problem with Joe Cornell was that he was not looking out what taxpayers want,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Taxpayers,
Right, sure.
citizens. So a new person coming in, how would they
Right.
know what,
Yeah.
Greenland's about, what people want, the
Mhm.
history, and what we, anyway.
Couple of things. Monday night, only the ECs can vote.
Yes,
Correct.
only the
Right.
EC. If the EC is not there, the president can vote, or if the EC has given a proxy to somebody else that lives in his or her precinct.
Okay.
So they have to live in the precinct. So
Talking about qualifications, that there's a woman that goes to our church that's a paralegal for Elliot Davis, and she's given them about 4 or 5 months. She wants to retire, and they're telling her in Greenville they have been unable to come up with a qualified paralegal to take her place.
Oh, my Lord.
That's just
What does she do there?
she's paralegal. I don't know what she does there. I mean,
She'll do
she's
a lot of
at a
research
church.
for them.
at Elliot Davis. I mean,
I
My wife's a paralegal.
well, I'll is she looking for is she looking for a
She's
job?
not looking for one, Douglas.
They say that-
But
they say
there's
that's-
plenty of them
that's-
that are looking for jobs.
there's and they
Yeah.
should whatever position that lady has.
I know they're pulling her leg, but I mean, it's just like that's what they told her.
I mean, it's
They want, I told you they want you through tax season. She's,
Right.
oh my God.
well, that's probably
Yes,
true.
that is true.
That is true.
Because bringing something new in now is gonna be difficult.
So let me just finish off the agenda. We'll do the approval of the minutes, which we will actually take a vote on that. But that'll be out there. So hopefully if there are any questions, people submit it. We'll do the state EC report. There's been the December SCGOP quarterly meeting. Then we'll do the chairman's report. To me, it's really just about updating of the elections we just have and focusing on the elections we got coming. Old business, there's no old business, and new business, none. Well, we have one issue that's been submitted from our rules committee. Again, Ray Sheen, just so everybody knows, and we'll roll this out here soon. Olga mentioned it at the end of last week's meeting, but he's done I think 8-part series, 12-part series of Robert's Rules for Order. So I think they're like 8 or 10-minute segments, 6 to 8 minute
6,
segments.
7, depending.
Yeah, but there's 12 of them, and we're going to package these all together or just independently, and we'll hopefully maybe play some of these on Coffee and Politics, maybe as a cold open, but since we're always late starting. We can start that at 11 and then start right after that and talk about it. But in his review of Robert's Rules of Order, technically you have to have in your bylaws the authority to have a virtual or online meeting. So we don't have it in our bylaws. Now, nobody's brought the issue up. So that's, even though we've done some virtual or hybrid meetings, virtual in-person meetings, we've never brought it up. Nobody's ever brought it up. Nobody's ever found it. So, there was no objection. So it goes forward. But, now that we know it, Ray and the rules committee, y'all voted on it. So they submitted it. That's just a technical amendment to our rules. And I guess we'll change it permanently in our next convention.
Correct. That's the whole.
So it's a short one pager. We'll email and post that out. We'll put it all out on social media today, hopefully, or over the weekend. But so everybody can kind of see that stuff. So, I mean, it's just a one pager. Ray or somebody will
I'll be the one.
Yeah. He's the chairman of the rules committee here. So maybe y'all can explain why y'all didn't catch this earlier.
It's a lot of personal things in there. And I don't want to get into them right now.
I will tell you one of the
Because I'm a human being, let's start with that.
Yeah, well, that's true, and I know it's always funny because I mean this is one of the highlights of my professional career. My first year as a young tax person working for KPMG, I was so happy that I found a special tax thing we could do for a particular client. That it was my first year preparing the return. I tell the client, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to save this all much money and blah blah blah." I'm so happy about myself. And the first thing the client did was say, well, "Why didn't we do that last year?" Oh, well, I wasn't here last year. No, but I mean, I was going to get my boss in trouble. So I mean, I kind of blabbered around some stuff, and he probably knew, but we moved on. It was fine. So, but you know, you pride yourself on finding something, and that's my joke of asking, why did you find it earlier?
Well, there's so many other things with the rules that
Right.
are horrible.
Yes.
You know, we got two things taken care of at the convention earlier this year. Yeah,
Last year.
actually last year. We Craig reformatted it and we rewrote the rule on quorum because some
It was confusing.
3-year-old wrote that.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't tell what the quorum number was. That's how bad it was. At least it's understandable now.
The
And there's so
rules
many-
in the old days, and this is what we kind of teach people, the rules are written in a way they can be interpreted this way or that way.
Yep.
And, you know, that's because, you know, the old guard or old leadership, they wrote it. So guess what? If you come to complain about it, well, I can say, well, you know, I was there when we wrote these rules and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be this way, the opposite.
Mhm.
You know, but then
They
literally they will, you know, the next time it comes up, they'll say, oh, no, it's supposed to be this way.
The other way.
It's outcome based, rules interpretation.
And I had a discussion like that before reorg with somebody who said that he was part of the committee that wrote those rules.
And that's always a
He was
giveaway.
stating that there was something in the rules, and I looked at it and I go, it's not there. He goes, what do you mean? I said, it's not there. Go take a look.
Couldn't find it.
Oh, he wasn't even well looking because he knew that I already done the research.
There's a lot of people that will try to BS over you
Oh, yeah.
and tell you this is the way it is. I mean, and oh, I know better. I was there. I've got more experience than you, yada, yada. Guess what? Common sense matters. That's what I like about Donald Trump. That's why we like what the administration does in that respect. It makes no sense. When somebody tells me there's only 200 people in this country that could literally run Greenville County, be the Greenville County administrator, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It took me, I'm sorry, it took Olga less than 24 hours to figure out a name of somebody who is probably, I would say, quite frankly, literally the most qualified person in this country to be it.
I did not think about it for 24 hours.
I know. Y'all see what I deal with.
So the question is this: when are we censoring the rest of the county?
Greenville County,
council?
yeah.
There,
Especially since they ran on that.
to me, there's two pieces to this. There is the issues and concerns we have with the county administrator, how this process has been done, you know, the fact that we do not have a succession plan. My professional career, you know, as a tax attorney, CPA, family office executive, I mean, that's what we did. I mean, yes, we did tax returns and investment planning and all that kind of stuff. We did the normal blocking and tackling you think those people do. But one of the main things we had to look at on a regular annual basis was succession planning, business and family succession planning. You know, if dad who started the company or mom who started the company, you know,
Yeah.
gets hit by a truck, what are we going to do? You know, if the company's worth $100 million, he or she gets hit by a truck, you know, and can the company keep operating? Are we going to you know, lose the company and the kids, you know, all the future and all the planning, you know, what do we need to do? We had the same thing with succession planning on, you know, a business is not a business unless you can, you know, it can operate without you there. I mean, we literally did it on the accounting side. You know, one of the things we do or would always promote as a check and balance to make sure there wasn't embezzlement or fraud going on within the financials of a business, is send the accounting people or send the CFO on a 2-week vacation. They say, I mean, you can type checks and do all the kind, but you can't do, if you're not there for 2 weeks, I mean, it's, things fall apart and things might get exposed, so that's a kind of a common practice. That's why you look at, if somebody is so focused on always being out there and micromanaging everything, and that is literally what county council is telling us. Joe Cornell is that
he's hiding something.
he is the
Yes.
one that is in charge of everything. He is. Somebody told me recently, and I don't know all the stuff, and I just know these big picture issues that tell me that something's not right. You have to dig deeper. But I mean, when I'm told Joe Cornell is the only person that approves the cost run overrides on all of the building stuff, he's the only one, really. I want a staff person to. I mean, in the accounting world, there's a staff person that prepares the return. There's a supervising senior staff person that reviewed the return. It then went to a manager or a senior manager, and then it got signed off by the partner. And that, that's a 4-person review right there. You're going to tell me, oh, well, the partner needs to prepare the return. That just makes no sense. There's something not right about it.
Well, it's,
How long has he been there, and how can he be replaced?
He's been there for 22 years.
he's on contract,
Apparently, he's on contract.
and they just extended it for 18.
And who does he answer to?
He is one of, he answers to the council, county
County
council.
council?
Technically, county council only can talk to or has 3 people that report to them: the city administrator, the county administrator, county attorney, and maybe one other person, maybe the secretary. I've seen the org chart, but all those other employees report up to the county administrator. So in the old days, you literally could not, you're not, as an elected county council member, you weren't supposed to go sit there and talk to employees. You couldn't go to department heads. Now, I have heard that with the change that, they told Joe Cornell that someone want to go talk to these folks and get that type of employees and stuff, and he's been amenable in allowing that. But technically, you could say no. I mean, and I kind of get it. You don't want elected officials going around harassing every employee, down there and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it could confuse the chain of command, if you will.
That's what executive sessions are for.
Well, yeah, yes.
Well, you keep it out of the public eye.
Yes. But I mean, if you had a county council member going around and harassing every employee, nobody could get their job done, and they were just, it would confuse things.
That's understandable. However, Cornell is not answerable to the citizens of the county, whereas the county council is.
Correct. Yes.
And you're opening the door for corruption to exist, and it probably started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably didn't start right away, but he's hiding something.
Yeah. But they renewed his contract. That's what they did yesterday.
18 additional months.
For 18 additional months with an option for another 6. And they're supposed to start a search immediately. I think it's
And 4% rate.
and a raise. Yeah.
It's not making money.
I didn't get a 4% raise.
Even though he's the highest paid in the state, but hey.
So the talk that's out there is at least there's an exit plan. But if you look at it, I mean, they're saying, oh, he agreed to it too. Okay, he agreed to it. He is leaving on his terms. It's time for him to retire anyhow, and he's dictating the terms.
He's padding his pocketbook.
So it's very confusing on the whole thing, and I just I made the statement yesterday that the Greenville County Republican Party's position was we're disappointed in the vote. This is not what anybody out there. I mean, Gary Collins, and I know he gets controversial with some of the others that are on council, but I mean, Gary made the statement. I think I read in one of the papers, one of the reports that he's got 200 and almost 300 people that have reached out to him either by email and or text, that every single one of them said, don't extend the contract. What are you going to do as an elected official? Either you got to go teach all those people why it really makes sense. And I'm sorry, you're probably not going to get me over that hurdle of understanding why it makes sense. especially, I mean, people ran for change, reform, et cetera. And part of that reform mindedness was a new county administrator. Those people got in office and literally Joe Cornell will be here for 3 years after
Well,
that. So,
basically, if in today's environment, if somebody's gonna take the time to send you an email or a text message, they care a
yes,
lot.
yes.
Because
If you get one email, there's at least 10 others
Or even better yet.
or 100 others that feel the same way. Yeah. So those 300 times either 10 or 100, that's how many people are really aware of the situation and are frustrated with it. So
So I should have kept my old councilman.
you would have got the same result.
Same result, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
that's what, I got, everybody's heard, most people have heard, I got pulled aside after that interview and I didn't go there planning on the interview. The Fox person asked me if I would after the meeting and there was literally nobody else, I don't think, from the public that was there. So I said, sure, and was pulled to the side by one county council member that he gave his spiel and I ended, and he ended, and so I made my comment. I said, we literally teach people, watch what they do, not what they say. You can blabber on about 1,000 excuses and 1,000 things, and maybe you can sell me on something. But I'm telling you, the other thing we teach is where there's a will, there's a way. There was a way. There was an ability to do it. There was supposed to be, and literally in last year's renewal of Joe Cornell's contract, this is what I think is really hilarious, is there was a requirement for a employee performance review.
It's been done.
And it hasn't been done. To Ben Blunt's credit, he took responsibility. He's like, well, we forgot or not,
Slipped our minds.
holy
Yeah.
cow. I'm not attacking Benton on that particular thing. Your county administrator didn't remind you?
The person's.
The county lawyer didn't remind you? Or we have a legal obligation under this to have
How do you get a raise without a review?
I guess.
I'm sorry, I come from a business.
Yeah.
I guess
I used to get annual reviews. I was still working. My raises were based
Based
on
on
that
your
review.
review, exactly.
Yeah.
Businesses are based on making profit. Politics is about being popular.
And the other thing we teach is when things don't make sense, dig
It's not
deeper.
popular, that's the problem.
I hate to,
To the people who are paying them, apparently, yes.
it's not my particular issue, hot button issue, but I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But it's okay. We'll figure that out. I think we're probably contractually stuck, we'll see. They renewed it for 18 months. But, what do you think is going to happen in 18 months? Most people out there in the ether are saying, oh, well, of course they'll renew it for another 6. There'll be this stuff. We went down and we were protesting our revaluation of our oldest protesting revaluation of her house. And, we go down there and find out, there's a new person over the real estate group or the assessment group, whatever. I don't know the title down there. But, the person that used to be over is still there. It's been there on probably some sort of consulting contract for I think at least 2 years now, because the computer system in the transition to a new computer system is so screwed up. This is the only person that has any information about it. I know, how many people here, we know a lot of people, friends that have worked either at Michelin or BMW. I hear more with Michelin, but they'll leave Michelin, retire, and they come back as a consultant, and they get paid pretty well. And if I created a situation where I'm the only person who knows where all the bodies are buried and all the stuff is, and how to interpret this information, that information, what contracts were, and there's no succession plan, even over 18 months, plus another 6, plus whatever. So just watch it. There's 2 things. There's the issues with what the administrator has done and not create a succession plan and all these types of things, not reminded council that, if I had a contract and I knew I was supposed to have a performance review, I really don't want to get my bosses in trouble with the public who are elected officials by not having that performance review. But, they say they're going to do it. I'm like, I can't wait to see the 2 things I put out there. I can't wait to see if as part of that performance review, whether they may do it now because we're bringing it up, but would there have even been a reference to the fact that there is no succession plan? And would there be a reference to the fact that he didn't bring up the fact that he should have had a performance review in 2025?
Well,
These are not difficult
I
things.
think Terry said, and it just boils down to it, and I got to thinking about this now. 18 months is a very unique number. With a 6-month extension on it, what's you gotta do? What's you gotta hide? What's you gotta clean up? They specifically gave him a year and a half to clean up the mess, but if you don't quite get it done, we'll give you an extra 6 months if you still need a little more time.
At their option. But I mean, that's what people say. It'll be, of course they're going to, because, just like forgetting to do the evaluation.
And that's what it is. He's got something to hide, and he's got to have enough time to clean up the mess before he leaves, so there's no fingerprints left behind.
The other thing to learn from this process is there was a desire to have we show that we're all in support. They wanted a 12-0 vote. They wanted to show that everybody was in support of it, yada, yada. Because then if we didn't have a unified county council, then we would not be able to find and recruit a new administrator. Who would want to come to Greenville, South Carolina to be the county administrator if county council is divided and fighting and this particular position is controversial in that sense?
But that's a silly
I
argument.
understand. Yeah, that's the point. You got the point. It is a silly
It's also a
argument.
silly argument that everybody would vote for no matter what. It's like, oh, well, I'm gonna go there and they're just a rubber state for me.
Right.
That's a completely backwards way of thinking too.
Anybody who does this type of job understands that there's always tension in a political body. And there's never 100% agreement.
But there is a way, true, but there is a way. If I was a county administrator, I'd be having information meetings. Other people have information meetings. We wanted to get somebody from the county to come speak to us, and they agreed about the penny sales of the additional penny tax that got voted on, but we voted down not last year, but I guess in 24. Guess what? Joe Cornell had 2 people that were going to come down and speak about it when we were doing the coffee politics over at Diddy's. Guess who didn't show? Guess who canceled the day before? They canceled us. You cancel. That's not a good idea. I mean, it's not like they didn't know who we were when they agreed to come. We're going to oppose tax increases unless you can actually explain to us why it's necessary and why we've done, they realized they were not going to be able to justify it. And we weren't going to be a rubber stamp, like the old guard, would have rubber stamped it. Now, there's a couple lessons here that we can keep learning. The other one is watch the people on social media that are now covering for their elected official friends. Guess what? I mean, to me, the definition of a rhino, Republican in name only, we are we are principled. I try to stick to principles and say, you know what? It's not personal. I'm not, and we literally teach here. If you see me do something strange, come talk to me. Call me out. I mean, don't just go on social media. I mean, come talk to me. Let's explain it. Because if you're confused, maybe we need to explain it to a lot of people while we're doing certain things. Why are we not? Think about it. We had to explain to some people, last year, why were we supportive of William Timmons as opposed to Adam Morgan? You would think Adam Morgan, Freedom Caucus, all the things that they say, don't necessarily do, they say, that's everything we say, isn't it? But they don't actually do it. Adam Morgan also wouldn't come talk. I mean, there were some people not happy that we weren't, or I wasn't, supporting, bow down and, kiss the ring of Adam Morgan. But it was confusing because, we've had our battles with William Timmons in the old days, but I now see him supporting our president. And if you're supporting the president, that's what we want in an elected official. I don't think Adam Morgan was going to be supporting Donald Trump.
Plus, when you had a question for Bill Timmons, what did he do?
He answers.
Did Adam Morgan?
No, he would not. He would not come here. He would not talk to us. As he told somebody, I'm not breaking bread with Jeff Davis. I'm like, okay, well, what kind of heat am I that you won't break bread with me? Aren't we supposed to break bread and talk about that? It's because we knew things that he did not want to answer. Timmons is, to his credit, he puts his phone number out there and he'll give you an answer. And he's given me answers before that I didn't like and didn't agree with, but he gave an answer. And
that's what you want.
Right.
That's what we want.
Right. And we also want people that are in Congress that are supporting the grander agenda of what Trump is trying to accomplish. I mean, not to divert off of it, but, the More Powers Act thing that they're pushing through the Senate right now, 5 Republicans, merged in with Democrats, to tell Trump not to go into Venezuela, or not to do more in Venezuela, all that kind of stuff. If the guy was taking over countries and doing things all the time, maybe we need to limit it back. Successful operation, a real problem, and now you want to, from a political perspective, you want to limit the guy's ability to do things.
They don't even read their own sanctions. They don't think they did because they gave him
They
the
gave him the
authority
power, yeah.
in the sanctions.
Yes.
And he
They-
got the warrants he had to have to legally arrest him. So
That just shows you how stupid they are.
that shows you just
People
how
that we're putting in office.
small-minded they are. They're not paying attention.
Or
They just hate
they
Trump
are.
that much. They just hate Trump.
or they think their constituency does. I mean, one of the guys I think was out of Indiana, and the Pence thing that's going on, and their refusal to redistrict and all that kind of. They're willing to lose the House, by Indiana's refusing to redistrict. They're willing to lose the House
Yeah.
because they hate Trump that much. You're gonna screw the country over.
South Carolina won't even redistrict.
Well, yes, and we
Because
did redistrict. We just redistrict. So Claiborne.
Wrong.
Say Claiborne could stop
Jim
it.
Claiborne could not retain his seat any longer. So, which is sad.
Which is what they're pushing for now, is that all states redistrict again based on their actual true census.
So, I mean, and I think Florida's stepping up.
You need to recount. It only counts citizens.
Right. You know.
Take a look at the district that Clyburn is.
Yeah.
In this state. The epitome of gerrymandering.
Oh, yeah.
It is, and they actually, the redistricting they did, they made it stronger for him,
Yes.
which, he was willing to, I think if I was hit, I mean, the Democrats won Charleston, the first congressional district once, I think for a 2-year time period, and then the Republicans won it back. Well, they've now made the first congressional district stronger Republican in a deal with Clyburn. What I hear, the rumors are that are out there, because he wanted to protect his seat even more. I mean, why would he, as not be pushing and wanting, at least an opportunity to get 2 seats out of South Carolina as opposed to just 1? Because they're all pretty self-interested in stuff. So it's there's a lot of less. There's as I said with this county council or city county administrator thing, there's 2 issues. There's the actual issue, and then there's the learning and the experience of the political issue. And I hate to point it out to people. They get mad at me because we point it out, but I mean, watch what they do, not what they say. Where there's a will, there's a way. They could have done that. They could have thought of something. Olga thought of somebody in obviously less than 24 hours. She wants to take extra credit. But I mean, there's a way to do that. So that's my opening thing. We got the meeting. I think that's going to be really exciting on Monday. And actually talked to a friend about some things with your animals. But I'll bring it up. Somebody wants your contact to ask you. Somebody who may be running for a statewide office. So we talked.
Needs a photo op.
No, I don't know. No. They actually, they had some theories on what may have caused some problems.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I mean, it was, this is a real person. But
Thank you.
here's more about it. I mean, no, it wasn't.
I thought a picture with them or something.
No, it has to do with what the particular reason. But we'll talk about it after. So, who's got something they want to talk about? We did do a legislative meeting last night, legislative committee meeting last night. A pretty good update after the long holiday. If you want to come give a little update, pull a chair up.
I haven't processed it totally, so we had our meeting last night. Basically, most people reported out after everyone gets some more notes.
But just to highlight what our legislative committee focuses on are obviously our
Yeah, we got our-
initiatives and bills,
our-
but also our
Our
municipalities.
seven initiatives, got a report out on all that. Troy was unable to make it.
Yeah.
And I did have, if that's okay, if I can kind of continue the meeting, I did have a question for you.
Yep.
On closed primaries, is there any?
They're getting ready to go back into session next week.
Okay,
3310 is still out there. Burns, who was one of the signees on that, says that he's going to push the committee members. He says he's actually, because when I heard his conversation yesterday with Bill Brady, he was saying that he was actually in conversation with them
okay,
at the committee. So hopefully he'll have a little more little more, pressure on them to do something.
And
There's
follow,
another bill added on to that.
Did you say was there a hearing coming up this coming week?
Mhm.
There is a hearing.
There's a hearing. There's also another bill that's up that they also submitted for 3643.
that's,
And 3643
you beat me to the
is
punch.
basically the same as 3310, but it's got some loopholes in it.
Right,
It basically allows somebody to change parties every dang day if they want.
right. Right,
So basically, I can go
wanted
in and
to
say, I
ask
want to
you-
vote Democrat today, tomorrow I'm a Republican, so
Yeah,
it's just kind of weird how there's no set time frame that you have to stay, or no time frame that you can only register during this certain time.
okay, I wanted to know if you were aware of that, because people have been asking me about that, so
Yeah.
you're on top of that, so that's the only question
Yeah,
I
I heard,
had. of
I,
that.
I've
And
heard
I've
about
also
it.
heard that Drew McKissick is pushing that one, that's
Yeah,
where.
That's the one Drew's pushing,
Which one?
3643.
3643.
So
Which
what's
one?
happening on Thursday at 9 o'clock, there's a constitutional law subcommittee of the Judiciary Committee in the House. They're having a meeting. It starts at 9. Normally, the House goes back into session at 11.
Yep.
They normally do the kind of the roll calls, acknowledging you're there. They don't actually start for about an hour later, but by their rules, if there is a committee meeting going on, they have to stop right at 11. So I'm looking at the agenda here. There's 4 bills in this 2-hour period that they'll have. Maybe they don't always start on time, all that kind of stuff. But it's a municipal elections bill by Brandon Newton, special elections bill by Senator Campson, that's a Senate bill. And then they got 3643, which is Brandon Newton's other bill, voter registration, party affiliation, which doesn't do us any good. You can switch parties, you can do all that other stuff. And then Representative Burns' bill 3310, which is the 4th. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to talk about these other 3,
And then
we're
right
going
now,
to come noon, or I'm sorry,
Exactly.
11, and then we got to go.
Yeah.
So it probably will be talked about it. But I
But
think
even-
3310 is a decent bill.
Yeah, but even at a worst case scenario, if we get 3643 in, it can be cleaned up when it gets to the beyond this committee, gets to the Senate. We might be able to straighten it out a little more, put a little bit more power into it, but at least get it out of one committee.
In
That's
what
the problem. It's been, every time they've been bringing this up for 20 years, and it goes to committee and dies every time, because that's the intent. Is I don't want register by party, because a lot of those people down there know that if you register by party, they're going to lose their position. And they know it.
And one of the other arguments against all this, does everybody have to re-register? That's one of the things that, anybody who's currently registered,
Well,
do you have to re-register?
From what the mechanism that they put into both bills is that it's up to the county that you're registered in to send you a notice saying that you're a registered voter. We need to know, you need to basically fill me a form that they're gonna send you in the mail. All you do is you say, okay, I'm gonna register in this party affiliation, put it back in the envelope, mail it back. And then they're supposed to update the records.
Okay,
So you don't have to actually go into the office and re-register. They're just gonna update the records.
how many registered voters do we have in Greenville? 300 and some odd thousand.
Yeah, so that's a lot of
So
bills.
300.
that's what Conway.
I don't think
County-
Conway wants to spend 300,
Yeah.
400,
That's
$500,000.
why I kind of brought that up. That's what he was,
They'll come up with some solution, but that is the mechanism they put in here.
What are those
They'll
other two
find
bills?
some way of telling people, hey, you need to.
What's the number?
3643 is the bill we don't want.
I know, 3310 and 3643. What are the other 2 bills that are going to be introduced?
I don't know the other.
I know
the ones that are
you
introduced.
called them out.
Well, the first one is 4669, which is a municipal elections bill, and then Senate 38, which is a special elections bill. Yeah, so I'm not aware of exactly what those are. Obviously, we're focused on the closed primary piece of it. What I will say is that, what you'll find is people say, oh, at least we got a hearing. Does whoop-de-doo. Does no good. I mean, like back again, where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, we got a
That's
hearing.
always their thing. It's like,
This-
oh, at least this time we had a meeting. on it.
The party, the
Got a
establishment,
hearing.
they're all behind just getting we got to do a step process, registration by party, and then we can work on closed primaries in the future. So they're working, the establishment is supporting this voter registration, party affiliation bill. We all want closed primaries. So there's a distinct difference between the two. If there's an opportunity for one to get through, it'll be registration by party. It won't be closed primaries, but we're still fighting for closed primaries. And we'll point that out, that hypocrisy out.
Jeff,
Yes.
if you can switch parties, with like, how many people, if there's 300,000 registered voters in our county or in the state, I guess.
In the county.
In the
It's
county.
about 4 million, 3.5 million.
3.5 million or something like
So
that.
how-
3.8 million, I think it was.
Do we have in this state, does it still have same day voter registration in this state?
We don't have that now, no. You have to be registered at least 30 days
Okay.
in advance. But you could change, I don't know the language of this particular bill, but,
I
you know,
think it's 45.
I think you still have to meet, you still have to, even if you're gonna change your affiliation just for a particular election, you still have to do it within the guidelines of what the state law states. And presently you have 30 days prior to the election to register. So if you're gonna change your party affiliation, you have to do it before that 30th day.
yeah, there's
Once
an
you get that
ability to
30
write in
day, you're
there, you know,
At
and
least
that's
till-
always the issue.
I
That's
think it's
always the
45
catch.
in the new bills.
And 45 in the new bill?
Yeah.
So you're changing the dates too.
Yes.
Well, that's just to change your party affiliation.
Right.
So,
Well, currently it is now, is you can go in to say, I want to vote this ticket. I want to vote in this primary, currently. That's the way law is, so there are open primaries.
oh yeah, so anybody
So
can
that's
walk
what you-
in.
I mean,
Any-
isn't-
you know,
to me,
you-
that's when you say same day registration, you mean like when you vote or when you register?
No, he's thinking.
He's like,
I know
But
he's
you can
thinking
go
about like
register
some
that day and
states.
go back.
Yeah, some states you walk in and say, I'm here to register to vote. Okay, now I'm gonna vote.
Minnesota, I think they
Well,
said it was.
Virginia, yeah,
Virginia's
Virginia,
like that.
that's what they do, they go to college kids come in and vote.
Yeah, and I think what he's talking about is, if they were doing it in Virginia, I heard most recently in Minnesota, that you could just walk in on election day, not be registered, to even vote. We're not talking party
Oh,
affiliation.
okay, I see what you're
We're
saying.
talking, I walk in on November 2nd and I say, I would like to vote.
Do that in New York City.
That's crazy.
I knew- I knew
Anybody
girls
can vote.
Voted 3
Yes,
times.
yeah.
Immigrants, illegal.
And how do you have the opportunity to check that they're not an illegal or they're
They don't.
US citizen, any of that type of stuff?
Which is,
They-
yeah,
Well,
same day voting has always been fraught with fraud. It's always been a fraud.
Sending mail-in ballots, okay.
Go that too.
Oh, so there's obviously a whole mirage of issues there that we can deal with. But the most interesting thing about that, I've heard people approach me this week because they heard Drew McKissick on the radio, or maybe it was a news report of what Drew McKissick was saying, is, I know we've seen our state EC make this comment that, the state party is going to perhaps join the Texas
Yeah.
lawsuit, federal lawsuit to get closed primaries.
Yeah.
And/or they're gonna start their own lawsuit. And/or we're hearing the national, I don't know, the national GOP may do, I don't know about that. We'll
And
check
it's
more
all
into
under
that.
the premise that if you don't pass it, then we'll file this lawsuit.
Oh, yes, if you don't pass it, then we're gonna do it. Our issue was, let's, if we had last reorg, we could do it right now. I mean, Drew McKissick in the state executive committee could vote to have, pick our nominees by convention. They will pass a closed primary bill if Drew McKissick threatens, we're gonna pick you guys by convention. I can tell you about every elected official in Greenville County, not every, but a vast majority, do not want to be selected by the convention, a recalled convention of the Greenville GOP people that participated in reorg. They just don't want that. So they would give us the bill. So you have a hammer, but you're gonna say, if you don't do it, I'm gonna do a lawsuit hammer later
You got
on.
a sledgehammer in your hand.
You got a sledgehammer that will guarantee it
And you're one
versus
using
a little tiny hammer, which,
Yeah,
you know,
attack hammer.
yeah, you threatened me before, but I don't really think, the threat's gonna come. But the most ridiculous thing about it, and we had a county council member here last night that had never heard this, but back, we could have had we had a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit, I think, 2010 or 11, somewhere in that time frame, that was filed by Greenville County Republican Party and the SCGOP. It was mimicking or mirroring a lawsuit in Virginia that they won up there on constitutional basis. That's why y'all have some sort of hybrid, whatever you kind of, close primaries you have now. But it was because of that. They were about an inch away from winning that here in the state of South Carolina. And the the shadow SCGOP chairman of today, the current the chairman at the time was Chad Conley, who is Drew McKissick's mentor. And actually, the whole
Still technically running things.
but Chad Conley's the one running things. He literally took us out of the lawsuit in June of 2013. Took the state party out of the lawsuit. Greenville County was happy to and continuing to pursue it, and had 2 lawyers here in town that were doing it. And we were kind of taking the lead, but we needed the state party to give us standing and to jurisdictional standing to be able to follow the law, to have the lawsuit go. When the state party got pulled out by Chad Conley,
I have the exact quote from the ruling.
okay, he then resigned and then took a job at the RNC. Rumor is Lindsey Graham got him that big job running faith-based operations for the RNC. He and Drew McKissick went to go do that. Drew McKissick ran one of the regions for the RNC doing faith-based operations. So Drew McKissick and Chad Conley were literally the people that destroyed the opportunity for a lawsuit that we would have won a decade ago plus, that are now sitting there threatening, oh, we're going to file a lawsuit?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think so. Again, watch what they do, not what they say. Olga's got the quote from an article, I think, from back then.
Well, this is actually from the, this was filed by the defendants in the U.S. District Court on July 2nd, 2013. With the withdrawal of the state Republican Party, this claims is being asserted by the local Republican organization and the individuals in Greenville County. Under the authority set forth below, it is respectfully submitted that these plaintiffs lack standing to assert the claim that the
First, claim that the association.
The Republican Party under the First and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution had been violated, so there's no standing.
Yeah, because why these cases, and I think we mentioned it last week, why they're in federal court is because it's a constitutional issue, freedom of association. If we're all Republicans, I can associate with Republicans as opposed to Democrats coming in and voting in our process.
Judge Conley's reasoning per this quote, he said the lawsuit has poor chances of winning against an Obama judge and only would have added to the party's legal debt of more than $300,000, money owed from lawsuits that followed the ouster of more than 200 mostly GOP candidates from the ballot last year. It continues, the article continues. The simple truth is that Mary Geiger Lewis, judge for the District of South Carolina, it's a quote unquote Lindsey Graham judge. She was confirmed by Lindsey Graham. The judge that moved. I don't know. That's just an article.
I get the standing thing. I think they're probably right.
Yeah.
May not have had standing once the state. But I mean, that is Chad Conley making a decision that got him a job, allegedly by Lindsey Graham, but he's complaining that the judge is a Lindsey Graham judge.
No, complaining that they were an
that
Obama
was the
judge.
article.
Obama judge.
That wasn't the quote from Conley ended. That was an article.
Okay. But
Further, whomever wrote this.
But I mean, again, where there was a will, there's a way. He got taken. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. They need to know this history.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate it, because we've been involved in this for too long to know this stuff. But I'm like, if nobody brought it up, I mean, how many? I've told this to a lot of people. They're like, oh, I had no earthly idea. Chad Conley was literally the person that took us out and then resigned. He had just gotten reelected chair in May, and in June he resigns to take a job with faith-based operations, running for the RNC. Who got him that job? Who could get him that job?
One person.
Who doesn't want to open primaries?
Lindsey, because if he closed primaries, he knows he's done.
Maybe.
Because the Democrat, the people who voted Democrat, or people that naturally vote Democrat, have come across the party lines and kept him in that power, in that seat forever.
Right.
But we need to. I mean, this is again, everything is about the details of that, but also learn the process and don't be fooled. That's what we're trying to teach people. And I think what's been refreshing for me is with this county administrator thing, a lot of people are waking up to the fact that, they're not, they tell us one thing, they do something.
Right, and then back to my meeting, the one thing we beat to death is Joe Cornell. So that was part of the topic there. I think the highlight of the meeting was judicial reform, which I'm working on. And I reached out to our representatives on.
The highlight was school choice.
No, you
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
because you actually punted on that.
I
You
did.
said
There's more
you'll
coming.
hear more in a
Oh, we
month
did.
or two.
I just like to always throw in the school choice.
Yeah, well, nice plug.
I
But was I worked.
I got to plug it.
Yeah, I worked on with judicial reform, and I reached out to our representatives and that are sponsoring bills. I've heard nothing back, and I did reach out to Doge SC, and they actually responded back, say, yeah, we are following that. And in fact, they have posted a bill, pre-filed a bill in December. We had last night a representative from DOJ, Doge, Justin Lane was here, and he wanted to see what we're doing. I was actually highly impressed with him. He seemed pretty good. He said all the right things. He nodded his head at the right time and all that. And so they have a bill that, and they asked me to read it, and I said it's something we can report or support. It's Senate Bill 696, and it's a lot like some of the other judicial reforms, but they actually look like they want to put some effort behind it. And so he wants to do that. He's, I think, going to be a good contact. And I did promise him that if you are interested in Doge SC, they are having an event in Simpsonville, February 16th.
I think they said they're paying for the wine.
Yeah, they did say there might be some wine there. Right. February 16th at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the Clock Tower tap room in Simpsonville. This is just kind of a pre-press thing. They haven't posted anything on their site yet, but they said they're going to go ahead and do it and get RSVPs. So kind of say, pencil it in on your calendar. So if you want to go see what they're about, see if they're real, see what they say.
So save the date, February 16th. We'll go to this thing in Simpsonville.
Right.
But they do have an honest desire to do judicial reform. They're pushing it. They're turning phone calls about it.
They were very supportive of right to life stuff. So they liked the other race. We do have race square today. We got our square today. So they did like his report and did talk to him. And he also he contacted, made connections here with Ron. You want to?
February 16th.
Well, basically, Justin Lane is on County Council in Lawrence County. Found In is partially in Lawrence County. So therefore, we have things that are done on a citywide basis have to be worked out with both Lawrence County and Greenville County. So it's good for me to meet this guy, because he told me that he would be glad to help in anything that I see we need to get done, which was very nice, because we talked about some personalities, and we both agreed on how we read those personalities and how things go. So this tells me I got somebody I can work with, as opposed to swimming upstream.
Yeah, that's what I'm impressed with. He at least approached issue that he wants to work with you, wants us to work with on judicial reform. We have mutual interest in that. And so I'm going to move forward with that and keep in contact with him. So that was one of the big highlights there too.
And what we've been talking, I've advised Frank about, if we're going to support a judicial reform bill, I think what's going to move is what the leadership is working on, what Doge is pushing. It's all the same thing. So whether we fully agree with it,
it looks pretty good.
But I think it is pretty good. And and I do know David Pasco, who's also big on judicial reform. I think Ron Reddy and those guys support him, and Wes Donahue's support him. So I think from that perspective, it's going to be pretty much a good bill, and I think the feedback has been it's all been good. But and when there's also the desire. So
right, that was the number one thing with me is the desire. The other bills in the House are similar, but you go and you ask the sponsors, do you want some help? I offer GOP's help, Greenville County, and then no response back. I had one representative actually said I never sent him an email, and I told him to check his inbox. And he said, "Oh, you did," and then he hasn't responded to me whether he wants my help or not. So
So my point in there, a lot of people file a bill, they don't necessarily want to get anything done, they just want to tell either somebody who wants it or their
Well,
constituents already
I've
did.
done with Mr. Constituent, I filed the bill, I've done what you asked me to do, but it's out of my hands.
Or we got a subcommittee hearing, but
Right.
we didn't get to it because we ran out of time. But at least this year we got, we'll try again next year.
So,
There, where there's a will, there's a way.
and I see a will with Doge,
They definitely.
and
have
they
a will.
understand that the Senate is the key point, the pivotal point there.
Yeah, they do understand that too. And why, let me ask, does anybody know why the Senate on judicial reform, there's a lot of issues, versus the House is the issue? Because the House is up for reelection this year, right? So the people want this.
Yep.
The House has already said they're supportive. Speaker Merle Smith has said they're supportive. They'll get it passed, but they may know, or the Senate's gonna kill it in the Senate. What do you think? I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it go both ways. Senate passes it, House kills it. They did it to our school choice bill. The Senate passed a $55 million real school choice bill that even at the time when it passed the Senate in 2023, we were told, oh, the House already has agreed to it. We pre-negotiated all this. It's not going to be a problem, yada, yada. Guess what? They did. They killed it in the House Ways and Means. They killed it.
Killed it.
Right. So
That's the way they do things.
they killed it, and the big reasoning that I was given is that the superintendent of education, Ellen Weaver, was not supportive of it. Why would Ellen Weaver not be supportive of an additional $55 million going to K through 12 kids? Because it doesn't go through their control. It's what's called free market. And I love we beat on the Freedom Caucus people about this all the time. And I saw one of their posts the other day. Oh, we believe in free markets. We believe in smaller, more efficient government, blah, 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 blah. And I just really wanted to write, but you voted for 100% government run school choice. And because Jim DeMint and Ellen Weaver told you to, because that's who's the money special interest backing those guys. So that's what we're trying to educate and teach people about. But, our issues and what we've learned on school choice happen on the same things with judicial reform, closed primaries, all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay, and so also in our meeting, we're structured, we look at municipalities. The one piece of news is Joe Farmer, we've watched Greenville City, he's moving to Greer. So,
To my neck of the woods.
right, so I think you guys are getting an ad.
Oh,
there.
we are, we
Yeah,
are.
so.
He'll be in my precinct.
Is it really?
Yes. I'm getting there.
And there'll be a competition for EC
Oh,
next
yeah.
time.
Joe wants to take you out.
I'm not the EC on. I've already been taken.
Take you
out.
out the president. He knows the powers in the
So
president.
Tertia might get some help. I've been in talk with Joe and asked him to get a hold of her and learn some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
I
so we
can't
need
wait.
someone to backfill in for Joe, and I have an idea.
Okay.
Chuck, make
America buff again.
Make America buff again. I was hoping he would be
Oh.
here. He showed a lot of interest.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That he's native Greenville. He lives there, and he was just getting his feet wet, looking at going to the meetings and stuff. And so hopefully I could get him plugged into that. So we have Greenville, and then we had a bunch of reports from the other municipalities. So, all right.
Him and Dacre.
Great report. We'll let you talk about the pro-life
Yeah.
aspect of it. Ray gave a good report last night. I will say compliments to you, Ray, for your socialism speech or presentation. I heard excellent reports. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I was just Monday, Tuesday were just bad for me. But I would like to, put you on the spot here, but we would like to, I don't know if y'all filmed it, at least got that. Maybe we could, I ultimately want to get those three parts where we can film it and put it out there so people can see, if you're amenable to that. So we can work on that. But he gave a 3-part series on socialism. Socialism, the first part was this past Monday over at Denny's, and the next 2 will be the first Monday of March. Second month, March and February.
Yeah, I only had it on the first Monday this month because of the library conflict.
Yeah, we apologize for that.
Hey,
Doing it to you twice.
you made it work.
Yeah, thank you. But I heard it was a great meeting and folks loved it. So. But if you, I don't know if you want to talk anymore about that, but if you want to give us an update on the pro-life stuff, because there are some hearings this week on that, and people are mobilizing for some things next week on that.
Yeah, thank you. You already covered my first point. What happened Monday? We made 27 people sign the sign-in sheet. For once, I didn't actually do a physical hand count, but there was 27 people signed up on the sign-in sheet. Tuesday, there's going to be a press conference concerning Harris's bill, which is H3537. That would basically make abortion murder as opposed to a health issue. But to head off a lot of the lies that I know are going to be said already, number one, life-saving care is not an abortion. It's a medical procedure to save the woman's life. And the common sense definition of abortion is what I use, and that is the killing of a child with the intent of killing the child. You know, if a woman's having chemotherapy, the intent isn't to kill the child. The intent is to save her life. There's 3 different surgeries for ectopic pregnancies, depending on the severity. And although it's getting better, oftentimes the child's still going to die in one of these surgeries. But the intent isn't to kill the child. The intent is to save the woman's life. And the child would die anyway. Anyway, Harris and Bright are both going to be there on the 2nd floor of the State House at 10:30.
Is that on Wednesday?
No, that's Tuesdays. Tuesday.
Okay. So Senator Bright and Representative Harris are doing a press conference.
Yes.
About it on Tuesday.
Yes. Wednesday, there'll actually be a hearing on his bill as well as H4760. 4760 is basically to strengthen our abortion pill laws. This is the law. It's already legal for anyone other than an abortion clinic pretty much to give the pill out. So we're not, this law isn't going to change that. This bill wouldn't change that. It would just bring more awareness to it, maybe actually give some funding to law enforcement so they can go after the male abortion.
Is it legal or illegal?
Mail order abortion pills are already illegal.
That's what I'm saying. I think you said legal.
I'm sorry.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would add to that. So just to recap it, on the 14th at noon, room 110 at the Black Building, which is where the House members' offices are, there's going to be a hearing. They normally go in at 2, so they'll only have 2 hours. Again, that rule issue that they'll shut it down at 2 o'clock when the House goes into session. But they've got 2 bills. H4760 is the first one that's up. That's Weston Newton. That's the abortion pill bill.
Yes.
Now, House leadership has made that as part of their agenda. So we're fortunate in that respect that it's one of our 7 issues, but it's also been picked up by the House. They're pushing that. So I think there's becoming more awareness to the mail or abortion pill thing. So that's going forward. But then the equal protection, Rob Harris's bill will be next. I think they're trying to get some people to come down, take the day off, go down there and go to that. So I'm sure they'll get some attention. I think they're also saying, don't stack the deck of too many people talking about the first bill, because if everybody talks about the first bill, they won't get to the second bill. So there's strategies that they go through and all that kind of stuff. So just be aware that it's an issue and it's popping up immediately the first week of session, because the House, the legislature goes back into session next Tuesday. So that's the first day of the second year of a 2-year session. So
unfortunately, there's a lot of ugliness going around. SCCL is having a fundraiser today and tomorrow. I actually got texted today to let me know that it's not too late for me to attend it, and I texted back saying I'm not going to fund an agency that aggressively opposes bills that would reduce or eliminate abortion. And the woman or I think it was a female anyway, the person actually responded back and said, I didn't know that.
Wow.
And of course,
that's South Carolina Citizens for Life. They do, but what's their weekend called? They have the 2-day.
They're basically having a fundraising gala.
Tonight.
It's this weekend, because I got an email for it.
Yeah,
they do it every year.
Yeah.
I got the text.
Yeah, we got the text, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not going to financially support an institution that says it's pro-life, but then aggressively tries to prevent pro-life, absolutely pro-life bills.
They
from
came
being
out
passed.
in opposition of Senator Cash's bill.
Yeah.
A couple months.
And they really didn't support McCravy's bill, which is the lightest of the three bills. Of total of 7 people spoke at McCravy's bill, 3 of them got there in my car. And whereas at Harris's bill, I personally was able to get 8 people there based on my own efforts. I got 8 people. So, all the talk about what people being SCCL being able to drag people, get people involved. It's like, I'm not seeing it. I personally got more people to show up for Cash's bill than everyone else in the state put together did for McCravy's bill. And don't think I did anything special other than make a few phone calls. And then equal protection is coming out. They're actually condemning the abortion bill as being a distraction from what really needs to be done. So a lot of hypocrisy is coming out. They're the same people who claim that there's more people taking the abortion pill than going to the clinics back when Cash's bill has come up. That was a big argument. Well, now we're trying to do something to stop the abortion pill, and now they're saying it's a distraction from it. So these
That's what
hypocrisies
you'll
are
find
pretty
in a lot of
sad.
these issues. Everybody wants it's me,
Only
it's
my
our bill,
issue.
it's our
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
We actually, that's the funny, sad, ironic part is when they passed or did the ESA stuff, that we knew it'd be unconstitutional. We knew that we would be happy to compete with a government program. I got no problem competing with a free market program, competing with a government program. I think the schools and the parents and folks would be very supportive of a free market system. So that was kind of, we were agreeable. I'm like, okay, as long as you're going to do the ESA, the government program, and ours, we don't support the ESA, but we weren't going to actively oppose it. Well, they promised, we'll do both. I'm like, well, you can stick them both in the same bill if you wanted. And there was an amendment, and we had a senator put that up and try to get that in there to pass it all as one. But what did they do? They split it out, and then they only passed the ESA. The Senate ultimately passed our bill too, but they let that die. So, they passed the ESA. So they promised us they do both. And what did they do? They only did the government-run program. So now we actively oppose the ESA, and we explain to people that way. I don't like opposing a school choice thing. If somebody wants, if a school will prefer to work with the government, that destroyed our public school system. So they're happy to work. If you want to work with them, knock yourself out. The parents would rather get money from the government, knock yourself out. I got no problem competing in a free market environment, that says. But the problem is, and I've told somebody the other day, if we support a government-run program, an all of the above, just a government, what are we going to get? We're only going to get the government-run program. So that's my beef with the Freedom Caucus people. They're like, yes, your bill's better and great, and we believe that, but we're going to do this because we're all of the above.
Anything the government runs, they screw up.
It's a little bit different than what you're saying. But so we did not want to be selfish and only support our thing. But we're seeing, everybody should support everything that moves anything further on protecting life.
This isn't a question of whether it's private or government like yours was. This is a question of,
It's very good.
this is my bill and there's 2 other bills, and I'm only going to support my bill, and I'm going to say nasty things about the people that support the other 2 groups. And then the second bill comes up and it's the same thing with a different group of people, but they're saying the same thing. And now we're getting the last of the people because their bill is up. Now they're saying nasty things about the other 2 groups. It's like,
Who's suffering here? Who's going to suffer?
it's the unborn children. Yes. And meanwhile, the pro-aborts are sitting on the sidelines popping popcorn and watching pro-lifers go at each other's
The Democrats
throats.
love this.
This is disgusting.
The Democrats love that
They
got
love
this.
that Republicans will turn on each other in a flat minute.
Yeah,
It is very strange.
they're really not doing anything other than, they're yelling and screaming like they always do. It's like New Year's for them, but they're not the show. The show is the pro-lifers going at each other's throats, and it's disgusting. Which I'm ready to see about getting a panel together like we had talked about. I want to get with you after the meeting, if you don't mind. I've got a list of names of people I'd like to invite, and just need to start figuring out some of the details. See if we can't bring some sanity to to this insanity. But for those who were at my talk, the pro-lifers are doing a really good demonstration of Aufheben.
Of what?
It's contradictory words, but somehow it's when you have contradictory terms and you assume that truth and untruth can be the same thing at the same time.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
I'm all about process and learning it. The more we learn, the more we get involved in the city. I mean, the left likes to manipulate words. They like to manipulate all the public opinion. This is why, our country got in the mess it is. This is why Europe, a lot of it's lost. I mean, they control the process and the system and the I hate to say the media. We've woken up to the fake media. If Donald Trump is ever attributed with anything, just waking us up to the fake news media, it's invaluable. So
also, I'm only one person, but another one of the goals I want to make in the very near future is to get with key members of the Greenville County Legislative Delegation, as well as some other legislators that I believe would work with me, and see if we can't quietly get Greenville the ability to decide its own fate as far as whether or not we'll allow abortion. I think this would be best if it could be done as quietly as possible, because then, boom, once it's passed, then the pro-aborts won't have time to realize it. They do it. Leftists do it to us all the time. They introduce a bill quietly at the county, and then all of a sudden, on the third hearing, when it's too late, that's when all the people opposed to it show up. But by then, it's too late. So I would like to do a similar strategy.
I'll talk to you about it, because we're working on some other things.
Yeah. Let's see. Cody should be passing out the slides to the slides I used to everyone that attended. Have you gotten anything yet? No. Okay. Well, the slides should be coming. I'll probably make them public. It was recorded. It was recorded on my phone. I haven't taken it off the phone yet. And if you're going to provide a platform for it to get shown, that would be great.
We can do that, or we can actually re-record it if you want. If you feel more comfortable just redoing it, we can do it through something like this.
Yeah.
Just make it clean.
Yeah, we could. That would be good too. We can get offline with that. The next two talks will both be on the 9th of February and 9th of March. The next one's going to be how it's infiltrated the church, which also means how it's infiltrated Western culture. There's a reason why Eastern spirituality is becoming popular, is because that's a lot closer. It makes a lot more sense for what they're being taught in schools, and what they're being taught in schools is pretty much what I talked about last Monday. And then to be proactive, the final talk will be how to address people in private and in public when dealing with these socialist issues. So the first 2 months really designed to build awareness, and then the third month will be to how to respond. Once you are aware of what's going on, you can identify what they're doing appropriate. I'm going to give some ideas on how to deal with that. And if any questions, I think that'll be it for me.
One thing I mentioned at the legislative meeting last night was how I learned about the philosophy of alchemy. So you might want to just address that just real quick. I mean, and how I applied it to modern day with the reporters asking a question, getting a response, not reading the response and not following up at it.
We all know alchemy is taking lead or whatever and turning it into gold, that type of thing. But essentially, as my gist, and let Ray, the other Ray, tell if I'm wrong, but it's what the left will say a word or use words or use terminology that then turns it into something else that sounds good, that gets everybody on board. That type. Maybe you want to just.
Well, the equivocalness of words, which is where they take a word and they twist it to their own. That's definitely part of it. What I was really trying to do is go actually even deeper than that. And I know it's going to be hard. This is the hardest thing to get your head wrapped around. It took me quite a bit myself before I fully understood what they were trying to do. Alchemy doesn't really turn lead into gold. It turns a lead object into a gold object. They believe you can if you destroy the lead, the object will still be there, but as the more lead you destroy, the more gold will take its place. And of course, lead to gold is, has quite a bit of financial application to it. So that's what they focus on. But alchemy is really about destroying something and expecting something magically to take its place. And the example I used in the class is, imagine if I was holding a paper cup full of water and I said, alchemy might suggest that I could destroy the paper and I would get a glass cup in its place. Now, because we've been brought up on physics, we know if you destroy the paper, I'm going to get my hand all wet because the water's going to spill. But at one time, physics and alchemy were both highly respected, but we kept physics because it worked and we dropped alchemy because it didn't. But the alchemist would suggest that, no, my hand would not get wet because I'm destroying the paper, not the cup. The cup would still be there, but as the paper was destroyed, glass would magically take its place, so my hand would stay dry.
It's a different way of thinking of things. But
So-
realize people that was a science, I guess.
At one time it was. It was a highly respected one too.
I'll give you and what he's talking about, and while we kind of continue with it a little bit, is because these are some baseline understandings of big picture, a little bit deeper, and kind of understanding where the other side comes from. What we did is a couple years ago, we played a movie, and we actually have the rights to be able to publish it out there, called I Am Fishhead. And if you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It's online, different places, but it's a movie called I Am Fishhead.
It's really good.
It's really good, but it talks about, and I heard a reference to this, not the movie, but the fact. Actually, our precinct DC sent me something earlier this week that it was a presentation that actually talked about on that presentation. It talked about 4%, documented 4% of humanity are psychopaths, documented psychopaths. Sounds like a lot, 4 out of 100. Maybe it's not a lot. And I don't know if it's exactly 4% or it's 1% or a little bit more. Whatever it is, these people, psychopaths, or psychotics or whatnot, I don't know, I'm not a medical guy, but those are the people that literally, and I Am Fishhead talks about, rise to the height of power. They talk about more in corporations, because those people are willing to get out and do things that most of us, I'd like to include myself in normal, but aren't willing to do. I mean, I would love to be doing anything other than what we're doing today, but how are we going to win this fight and this battle? How are we going to win school choice? I mean, we got the big beautiful bill, which is fantastic, but I'm like, how are we going to get that to be able to help millions and millions of kids, without us stepping up and doing something? Everybody else is stepping up over a cause or just general. But I mean, people get involved in business and they're willing to lie, cheat, and steal, because they don't have an internal feeling about it. They're okay stabbing you in the back, or we call it ladder climbing and all that kind of stuff. There are people that are clinically diagnosed as being that way, and they end up being, that is kind of like a baseline understanding. And I hate to say it, I'm not saying, I would think if the population is 4%, what do you think the percentage is in corporate CEOs? Or what do you think the percentage is in media? Or what do you think the percentage is in elected officials?
Probably much higher.
Much higher.
As they will talk about, I mean, there's a lot more there. Because, most of us as conservatives, leave me alone. I'd love to be living in a cave or on top of a mountain somewhere, just give me internet and TV, I'll be fine. But I'm like, these are some baseline things we have to understand. I think we as good people like to project our morals and values on what, an elected official or CEO or a famous person might do, but they're different. And I'm not saying they're all this way. I'm just saying there's a much higher percentage of them in those positions. So just be aware of that.
Just speaking of psychopaths, one of the books that he mentioned in the talk, which I kind of like to read, but not, was The Alchemy of Finance by George Soros. And the forward is what got me, by Paul Volcker.
Yes.
He was the head of the Fed.
Underrated. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone who thinks socialism doesn't believe in alchemy is fooling themselves.
I thought that was
And that's what makes it so dangerous.
Well, and I was
Socialism is ultimately about destroying.
Yeah.
because they believe if you destroy something bad, something good will take its place.
Mhm.
And I gave another example of their infinite progress. You know, you have homelessness, you want to get rid of homelessness. Okay, I understand that. So let's just build an apartment complex here.
And give
Well,
away a home.
building the apartment complex here may not be a bad thing, but what if you're destroying, what are you destroying in the process? If it can't handle the sewage, if it can't handle the electric, if it can't handle the traffic, Socialist doesn't care because they're destroying homelessness by building this apartment complex. That along with, that's another thing, is they have non sequitur, but ultimately everything's about destroying something. It's never about creating. They believe that something mystically will happen when they destroy something bad. They don't care about all this, the outfall. As a matter of fact, because of their infinite progress theology, all you've really done by pointing out that this is going to cause a bigger problem is say, okay, so here's what we'll do to fix that, rather than say, well, maybe we should relook at this plan. Like say, for example, the sewage. If you point out that there's going to be a sewage problem, they say, well, we'll build the apartments anyway, and then we'll tax the heck out of the county to build a brand new sewer system. And then you say, well, that's going to cause problems. Okay, well, we'll do something else to fix this problem. They're never going to go back and say, well, maybe there's a better location to build this. You know, they'll never want to go back to that.
It gets deep, but I mean, yeah, that's part of what we need to teach people to realize and learn and think about it. It's funny, I don't think I've heard of this book, Alchemy of Finance, but I mean, you can create, I mean, I come from a bit of that world. You can create things that will have substantial value that are literally, if you look underneath the sheets, there's nothing there. But I mean, you know, there's ways to do that. You know, go public on stocks and all that kind of stuff. There's people that have made fortunes on it. You know, and then there's people that had good ideas and good companies and stuff like that that go nowhere. You know, and I think that's part of the discussion that comes up with Bill Gates. You know, with Microsoft. You know, I mean, everybody thinks he was just some smart kid in a garage that came up with something.
No.
You don't really realize who his parents were and who his connections were and all those types of things.
He didn't develop that operating system.
Yeah.
He bought it.
He stole it from George.
I mean, he underpaid for it.
Way underpaid for it.
Well, what he did was he took something that he saw the potential for. He had someone, IBM, who wanted an operating system and says, all right, I'll buy yours, pay you, I have complete rights now, and then turned it and marketed it to IBM.
My understanding, he was incredibly lucky too.
Yeah.
That somebody actually wanted to go with someone else's system, but he happened to be out of town that day, so they went over to Gates.
Right.
And he happened to be home when they knocked on the door.
You'd be shocked how, you know, how much luck and just circumstance, but there's also, you know, the fact of who his parents were and all that. There's sometimes some other more nefarious things can come up in the background too. So
Someone is asking something online, but I don't know what that means.
Okay.
What's your opinion on county government taking over fire?
I don't know. I mean, we can look at it. I mean, obviously, if you're thinking here in Greenville County, there's you know, a whole bunch of different fire districts and commissions and all that kind of stuff. There's probably been talk of how do we consolidate all that. You know, I think they did consolidate all the water pieces of it, if I'm not mistaken. We used to be fire and water. You know, that's paid the local people for. But I think that somehow Greenville Water consolidated all that, and there probably will at some point be a push to consolidate all the fire for the entire county. Which, you know, I think there's going to be a battle for that. There's pros and cons to it. Yeah, who knows? I mean, but I don't know of any real move to do that right now that's out there, but maybe there is. And if this person will contact us and let us know what they're thinking. But there's pros and cons. There's ways to think about it. You know, but I think it needs to be, again, an open and transparent process. Not, I'm going to create, you know, Greenville Water and create some big company that is now going to take over all the fire, and I'm going to make a ton of money doing it. So, you know, that's what we're looking out for. So, whatever's in the best interest of the citizens, and you know, that's what we're trying to promote. And sometimes the most efficient system is not the best interest of the citizens. You know, and I will tell you that one other thing I've seen out there, you know, the left is going nuts about this Minnesota thing. You know, I mean, you know, they're saying, you know, the Charlie Kirk and, you know, Second Amendment, you know, folks, one comment I want to make at it is, yes, there will be incidents where people are killed, through either suicide or whatever, with a weapon or a gun, but we're not gonna have another Auschwitz if everybody's got a gun. So, I mean, we only grew up 15 minutes from Auschwitz over in Poland, the concentration camp. They killed millions and millions and millions. And if I know there's Holocaust deniers, but I mean, if you go and see these facilities and see this type of stuff, you're like, there's an ear
And
over
we still
this.
don't have guns.
And they still don't have guns. And I'm like, you of all people, the Polish people ought to be clamoring for a Second Amendment. There's a bunch of drunk Poles that like to get in fights, on a Friday and Saturday night.
Wait a minute.
They like
wait
Revo.
wait a minute.
They like beer.
Wait.
We use baseball.
They use baseball bats. I'm like, it's gonna, but I'm like, they took over that country and they were able to just round people up and put them in furnaces.
Mhm.
You can't do that if every house on the street has a gun. I mean,
Several.
yeah, and I know there's going to be accidents and there's going to be crazy people going to shoot things up. What would you trade? Would you trade, every life is precious, but I mean, would you trade 7 versus 7 million? And it's really not even a consideration.
It's funny, they sit there and they talk about, this assault weapon, that assault weapon, everything's an assault weapon. But they don't turn around and point at other things like, okay, well, obesity is a major issue in this country, so why are they not calling those assault forks?
Well, the biggest fallacy on that is, yes, this person's life is it's immensely valuable. It's infinitely valuable, but so are the lives that he's taken or could take if you don't take reasonable precaution.
And as we've seen in Venezuela, I mean, you take everybody's guns away, and then, you control the population. And I just don't understand why the left. I mean, I'd hate to see a school shooting. I hate to see any sort of violence on that. Some crazy guy kills Charlie Kirk. I think Charlie Kirk would still agree we need a Second Amendment. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible thing.
Look at some of the other places in the world where they don't have the rights to firearms, like China, where a crazy person goes into a school with a knife and cuts up a bunch of children. It's still an assault. Period.
Machete attacks. I think machete attacks were big
In
somewhere.
England, in England.
I mean, this
In
crazy
London.
person gets a machete. What are we going to get rid of all knives? Everybody's got a butter knife.
I think in China, one man stabbed 14 children
Yeah.
with a table knife.
Yep, with a table knife. A teacher and 14 children in a school.
All right. Who else has got something they want to bring
If
up?
someone wants to kill someone, they're going to do it.
What do they do with a firearm? Or
You can take this piece of paper and kill somebody. If you can make it into a powder, you can make it go boom.
I will compliment again J.D. Vance on his press conference at the White House that he talked about the Minnesota stuff. I think he was spot on, and I love seeing somebody willing to say that type of stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I think he feels like he has the support of the president, and I think for whatever he's appealing to, he's saying all the right things. Marco Rubio is saying all the right things too. I mean, I love the little video that the White House Instagram put out. I'm not homeless show, but it literally shows what's his name, the Venezuelan guy sitting there challenging Trump.
Oh, yeah, but
Come get me. I'm here. You're a coward. And then it cuts to Marco Rubio. It's like, we told you. I mean, it's really. I like this kind of stuff. To me, it's real. It's not like, oh, let me tell you that there's only one. There's probably 200 people in America that could even run Greenville County administration. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Look at what they're trying to achieve. And I think, as we did the training a couple weeks ago, if I do what this politician wants me to do, how does it benefit him or her? That's what you have to consider. Why would somebody get so angry at me for saying we're disappointed in the vote of county council? We're disappointed in the new people, the reform-minded folks and the new people on county council for voting to continue this contract and not finding a way. Why would you come and get angry at me? And even when I don't threaten or say anything about you, you sit there, your comment back to me is, if you come after me, it's not going to work out well for you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who is this?
One of the county council members. I think he's volunteered to come on, so we'll have him and we'll discuss that. But I'm like, why would somebody say that?
Who is?
I'm like, why would somebody say it?
It's called intimidation.
Right, I'm like,
You know how
Exactly.
that intimidated us.
Let me
That's
tell you
how
what
That's
they-
it was.
intimidation, there it was.
I got
I mean,
$100
but
in
why,
it.
you know,
It is.
Was it who we were talking about earlier?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. No. And we put it out there, told
That's a
you
good
people,
chance
to me, that might even be a reason that you shouldn't be in office, if you're gonna threaten
Threaten
citizens,
people,
you know, about stuff. I mean, we have a position. We're got our people, our organization, a lot of people around got involved in those elections for change.
Yes.
I mean, you know,
It seems to be more.
or reform, and guess what? We got the same result.
We did.
Frank has
Just a different face.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Frank.
It's a cornered animal. You've got it cornered.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, you know,
Corner, there was no corner.
but we didn't corner
Yeah,
him.
no,
I mean,
no,
we
no,
weren't
no,
attacking
no.
him.
Because he's raised
He's cornered himself.
resolutions of censure on people.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
And now
true.
now he knows he's gonna be the object.
He's gonna be
of
censored.
censure.
You're the first that's brought
You know,
up
the
censoring these
interesting-
people for that type of stuff, but
With this situation, I was absolutely shocked it happened yesterday because they were people in our different groups doing call to action to call county council, try to make them change or vote certain way. We had been told from different sources that the vote was set, that it was 9-3 votes.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even bother to call these county officials because we kind of knew it's done deal. You cannot now suddenly get rid of, today or a week ago, you cannot get rid of Joe Cornell because you don't have a plan. So we knew it was a done deal. So we didn't go after them. I did send a text message to my councilman just to ask on the record what he was going to do, just to be able to say that he never responded to me.
Surprise.
I knew how he was going to vote. I expected it. I had no desire to try to change his vote at that point, right? So all we did, it showed up to the vote, and it happened that there was a whole bunch of media and not one citizen other than Jeff and myself. So when we came out of the meeting, of course, the media was like, do you mind saying something? What do you feel about it? And Jeff's like, well, sure, there's no one else. It's not like Jeff stood there and asked to be heard. They wanted a comment from someone other than the people voting. So Jeff issued a statement. He never named a name. He never said, we're going to vote them out. He never did anything other than ask a party, we are disappointed because the newcomers campaign on change, and part of the change that was supposed to happen was new administrator. And now, year and a half later, is it a year and a half?
well, from the June primary.
Yeah, from the June primary.
Year and a half later, we voted for no change. That's all we said.
What would the vote have been if not a single county council member had changed?
The same.
Same vote.
Right, so we had no change. And again, that was it. And there were 2 or 3 councilmen that were listening to it, and none of it had a problem because it was not ugly, nasty, or unfair. We are disappointed. Can we be disappointed? I mean,
I mean, what would y'all said if we initially say, oh, we completely agree
Oh,
with this, and we're
yeah.
so excited to have an exit plan, 3 years after we elected people in there to actually have the change that we all fought for.
Oh, I'd like to
in
find out why
2024.
mine changed their vote.
Yeah.
Because when we heard
So-
it was a,
You ought to.
it was, yeah, I am.
But anyway, to all
If they'll answer me.
personal fairness, what was surprising, the person was asking, what did you want me to do? And I said, well, he said, we didn't have the votes. I'm like, well, you have your vote.
Right.
What you could have done is voted no.
And that's
Even-
what they teach you in the classes.
Even if they
Take
didn't
these
have
classes,
votes.
focus on what you can do. You hate, that person had a vote. You could have voted, don't tell me, oh, well, we gotta put 7 votes together. Oh, we gotta show unity so we can recruit somebody to come here and take this $400,000 a year job and set them up. I mean, no, you have,
But we had
you
no
did what you
history
did.
of criticizing that person. We had no history of going after that person. We had history of the person coming many times to copy on politics. There were times we didn't agree, but we thought they do what they can, right? Like, whatever, no one is perfect. None of that happened. And yesterday, it was like this ambushed, for real.
Yeah.
And, but
If they
to
voted
the,
it no, there was nobody under Joe Cornell. I don't know how many people he's got.
2,500 employees. I mean, you tell me there's not, I'm actually told there's like 3 assistant administrator positions that are not full. I'm like, why has he not hired people for those positions?
He's the king.
And guess what? You can't fire me if
No king.
I've
No
surrounded myself with all people that need me to be here 24/7 or whatever.
Yep.
I'm sure he's there
So
working
it's
all the
not
time.
irreplaceable, essentially. He's making
He's made
himself.
himself. He's not working for the people of County. He's working for himself. And he's negotiating for himself. You know, to bleed dry whatever he can get out of Greenville County and the taxpayers. That's a problem. That's a real, not having a succession plan is a real problem.
so
If I'm on the board of a Fortune 500 company, you know, that's, you know, and if this is that big of a deal of $500 million company, you know, then they need to, you know, I mean, they talk about succession plans all the time. What if our CEO goes down in a private jet plane, you know, flight somewhere, because they're doing that all the time.
That's why CEOs and CFOs fly in different planes.
Different lines,
Yeah.
normally, yeah.
So to close that loop to the person's credit, well, Jeff issued a press release after the meeting, and at the end of the press release, it said that basically the GOP will always keep people, well, the GOP, as him being the spokesman, we just keep people accountable because that's what he ran on.
It's our job.
Right,
It's
so
our job.
we said we were disappointed because that's the accountability part. But if any of the council people want to come and explain their vote, we would love to hear it, their reasoning. We've heard the reasoning. To us, to me, it was ridiculous, but maybe you would be satisfied. So to that person's credit, after we published the press release on social media, he did come on and said, let's set up time. I would like to put the facts out.
Okay.
So,
Happy to do so.
Yeah,
why not? And then. you
that's all we
can-
ask is constituents.
Right, and we still may disagree, but I think we can disagree,
Yeah.
right?
You may figure out, that's why I had a Morgan Wood come talk to us. It wasn't gonna look good, but
So
I don't think, you know, maybe they got a good reason. We'll see.
we will reach out.
But I tell you, when I give them one name that would know everything and could have replaced this a year ago, we'll see. Oldest bright idea. Gosh, it was great. All right. She just, polls, supporting polls. All right, anything else?
Why not?
Right.
She's my cousin.
Business meeting on Monday. I think it's gonna be great.
Yep.
Come to that, you know, Pasco's presentation. I think it's gonna be eye-opening. I expect some press people to be there.
Because he said it was
for
gonna
that.
be
We'll
new.
see.
He was gonna have some new info.
Yes, he's got new information. So this is very good. Alan Wilson is running for governor. He's our current AG. He's been there for 16 years. He's running for governor. He has now picked a running mate.
Yep.
Senator Rickenbacker, I think is out of Florence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in the senator for signing on with Alan Wilson and not understanding the issues and problems and concerns I think a lot of citizens have with the current attorney general. But you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, all right. Anything else? Jared? All right, we're out. See you next week. We'll see you on Monday.
Pleasant to dismiss to you.